Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Howdy all, Red O'Loughlin here. We're on the Corner Bookstore on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. Today my guest is a former Air Force pilot, worked with NASA, Space Station, started his own companies. We got a lot of things to talk about. His name is Pat Daly. He's also another local here in the Houston area. But before we get to him, let me give you a very brief rundown on me. When I'm not doing TV shows, I write a lot, authored 7, 8 books. I'm a researcher is what I call myself nowadays. I take and research the human body at the cellular level. Chemically speaking, I look for cause and effect relationships. I take the complex and add a lot of clarity to it. So that is what I do. I'm also a book coach, and I publish probably 50 books for other people. And so right now we're going to get back to our TV show. I host 3 TV shows every Thursday, back to back to back. Today is the first one, The Corner Bookstore. The next one's called The Wise Ones. And then the final show is called Talking Heads. And today I'm going to be talking about why does recovery failure drive aging and disease? And so if you're here in a couple hours, we'll be there. But if you happen to be on YouTube today and you haven't subscribed to the USA Global TV and Radio Network, please consider it seriously. Please do. We'd love to have you as part of our normal group there. Let's go ahead and introduce Pat Daly. Please join me up here on stage, Pat. Pat, I want you to give the audience a little bit of background with regard to, okay, you started out in the military, Air Force, you're a pilot. Now let's get a little bit of the background done, and then we'll kind of establish some of that credibility, and then we'll get you into your world of an author.
Red, I couldn't hear you. I think you said welcome to the show, but I have no audio from you.
I'm going to change my speaker real quick, see if that makes any difference at all. My microphone. One, two, can you hear me now? No. Okay. So I guess I'm here by myself, and we are going to figure this out here very, very quickly. Okay, well, we're on the Corner Bookstore, and we're talking to a Air Force veteran who, okay, we're back again here one more time. Okay, why am I here? Okay, still no audio, Pat? Okay, I'm guessing not. It's on Pat's side. Okay, I'm going to shut up.
As they say, my friends, the show must go on. So, Red, why don't you start by telling us, I see you've updated your website, which looks terrific, and you actually have a new book coming out. Why don't you tell us about that?
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Jacqueline. I'll take a brief moment to do that. I can connect with Pat Daly via phone. Maybe we can make this thing happen. And we have the technology. We just need to find the way. I have a book coming out very shortly this summer. It's called Aging Sucks. And what it's based on is there's 12 different hallmarks of aging. There's 8 different hallmarks of health, and there's at least a half a dozen common pathways for disease. So if you look at the hallmarks of aging and health, what can you do to accelerate great health? What can you do to accelerate aging or decelerate it? And so that's what I base everything on. I do my research. I've been publishing a lot of stuff lately on social media with regard to, okay, here's a specific hallmark of aging or health. Okay, how does this affect it? And in reality, it's kind of strange because our daily, literally daily lifestyle choices, the foods we choose, our diet, our exercise, our stress management, the quality of our sleep, all of these things literally affect every aspect of our aging and every aspect of our health and literally every aspect of the pathway of disease. So if you're doing the right kinds of things, let's go ahead and figure out what am I doing wrong or what I don't know about. So a lot of this is awareness that will lead to education that you may or may not want to take on your own, but the book's going to have a lot of information. And then I'm going to have a series of webinars after the book is out where we can actually go in and talk about, okay, here's the 30,000 foot level. Book brings you down to about 5,000 feet. What happens at the ground level? What can you do to make your retirement life down the road really enjoyable? And that's what my book, Aging Sucks, is about. Dr. Jacqueline.
Thank you so much for that, Red. It looks like Pat is not able to join us at the moment. So I want to ask you about this book. What was the motivation behind you writing it?
10 years ago, I wrote a book called Longevity Secrets for Healthy Aging, How to Live to 100 years of age with the body of a healthy 50-year-old and a mind of a 25-year-old. Well, the mind of the 25-year-old is pretty easy because that's literally when we grow up at 25, our brains stop growing. That's it. But it's as mature as it's going to get. Now, later on during retirement or whatever, you may get Alzheimer's, dementia, something else. But the brain itself is it stays the same. But our bodies grow older, and so if we can slow down the aging process, we can keep that relatively healthy body at 50 and be 70, 80, 90 or older. And I've seen a lot of people in their 90s. Oh, their grip strength just amazes me. They're very spry. Their brain is sharp. But then there's other people in their 60s and can't get off the couch. So there's just a wide variety. But so I wrote the book 10 years ago, and I put two causes of aging that were known at that time. One was the telomere length erosion that happens every time a cell replicates. And the other one is called human growth hormone. Well, as things grow, we get more information. They kind of solidified the aging causes into these things called hallmarks. And so I'm taking a look at my old book. Okay, they don't have human growth hormone in there anymore, but it's very important. So I said, I really need to update this book. I wanted to update it after the COVID pandemic. So I said, okay, let's go ahead and update it. But let's take a look at how can we actually get what's the latest information. Because as I started looking at things over the last few years, there was 8 hallmarks of aging, then 12, and then 11. And so the thing continues to evolve as we learn more and more about our bodies. But those are things that I love to do because I love to just dive into the human body and have fun.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to the book, and I know you put a lot of time and diligence into it, so congratulations. And the good news is that our guest is back, so let's welcome Pat to the show.
Pat, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Hallelujah.
Oh, we have the technology. We just need the right pathway. Okay. Let's pretend like we're starting all over. We're going to do probably a 35-minute show rather than a 40-minute show because we're running just a little bit late, but that's fine. I think we can get everything in. You were in the Air Force a long time ago, pilot. Tell us a little bit about the Air Force, being a pilot, and then becoming part of NASA. And let's get a little bit of your background credibility set up so that we can get into your books down the road here very quickly.
Sure. I started my professional career in the Air Force as a fighter pilot, flew F-4s, went through test pilot school, flew a lot of different aircraft as a test pilot, flew F-16s, and then when it looked like the Air Force was going to send me to staff job after staff job, I opted to get out. I went to work for a large American airline, and within a year, I'd been furloughed by that company. And so I started looking around, and I found an engineering center that was being opened and its primary customer was NASA and the Human Spaceflight Program. Now, Honeywell was the actual company that ran the engineering center, but it was down at Johnson Space Center. So I got the opportunity to work on shuttle and station programs. Artemis was just beginning when I left that to start my own business. And then along the way, pivoted to writing and consulting, and here I am now.
I have two questions I love to ask pilots, whether they're commercial or otherwise. And I'm sure you have answers for both. What's the shortest flight you've ever flown?
Less than 5 minutes.
Okay.
It was, yeah, takeoff, boundary layer control, failure, into the overhead, back around to land, done.
Okay, so you and I have a point one.
Yeah.
Okay. Second question. Have you ever been cleared to take off at one airport and cleared to land at another airport in the same breath?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, from Edwards to George.
Yeah. Out in Hawaii, I was at Barbers Point. We're clear to take off. Barbers clear to land to Hickam. It's only 3 or 4 miles away. So they got
Yeah.
to clear both runways at the same time. But anyway, those are my two standard questions. I used to ask how high, how fast, all the rest of that stuff, how long. But everybody has something different. But the uniqueness is a short flight is really something wrong with the aircraft. We had a fire on number 3 at Rotate. And so you had to get back on the ground in a hurry. So it's one of those kind of things. But anyway, so I went out to NASA in the old days. I was a logistician at that time, and they had a mock-up of the space station before it went up. And there was a lot of the big problem they had then was micrometeorites. How are they going to handle that and protect the space station? And I guess they resolved that problem because I've never been back out there, and the space station's up there for ever and ever and ever. What was the best thing you liked about NASA?
Really smart people. I mean, getting to work with some people like Chris Hadfield, Susan Helms, Rick Husband, really, really brilliant people in the space program. And it feels like, the rising tide lifts all boats. I felt like I was better because I was working with people who were so good at what they did.
Does that same thing apply back when you were a test pilot?
It did. It did. Although I felt a little more self-important as a test pilot.
Okay, so you left that part of your career and you opened your own company. Tell us a little bit about that transition to being an entrepreneur.
It was guts ball, because the year I finally decided I'd had enough of working for somebody else and was going to start my first company was the same year my elder daughter started college. So it was a bit of a hard sell to tell my wife, okay, here's what I want to do. I want to take a bunch of the money we've saved and I want to invest it in starting a new venture. And God bless her, she had a lot of faith in me, a lot of faith in what we were trying to do, and launched that first company. And then along the way, started a couple others, ended up selling my interest in the first business and moving on from there.
I noticed when I was doing some research on you, the term polymath comes up periodically. What is a polymath for our audience?
Polymath is somebody who's had success in disparate fields. So in my case, business as well as aviation as well as writing. So I think that's why it gets applied to me from time to time.
Okay. That's why I say when you're a polyglot, you know a lot of languages. So polymath was a term I wasn't absolutely familiar with. I figured, okay, you can speak imaginary numbers and this and all that other stuff, but apparently not. Okay, but I understand a lot more now, so that's great. So now you have a business that's going. And when did you decide to become an author?
I've always loved reading. And that love of reading made me always want to write. And so I think in the Navy, you might have had the equivalent. In the Air Force, we called it the Doofer book or the Hog Log. It was just an informal publication within the squadron that we kept in the in the lounge or someplace, and we'd write up stories about things that happened during a flight, or we'd write up uh, stupid things that we had done or other people had done, like the time I almost took out the 7,000-foot remaining marker on the runway at Edwards, and so. Uh, Somebody along the way said, you really ought to try your hand at something longer than just a page of a Doofer book. And so I did. And I'm blessed with good friends. And those good friends read my first attempt at writing a novel and were honest enough with me to say, love you, brother, but this sucks. So so you learn from that, and I think part of it was the story. Part of it was I was letting myself get too much into the story and falling in love with my ideas too much. So I put that one aside, joined a writing group so I could get closer to real-time feedback on things I was writing, and that helped me a lot with the first book, which was the first published book, which was Spark. Book one of the Spark Chronicles.
Why Spark? Why the term Spark?
Okay. Um, in this, the basic story takes place in a place called Solar Prime Augmented Reality Park, which
Okay, I see it
I thought,
already.
yeah. So you think, okay, it's got to be an acronym, but the real acronym would be SPARP, SPARP, and that doesn't flow off the tongue easily, and so I dumped that and I modified it a little bit, and Spark became the name of it, and it went from there.
Okay, and the characters are the same in all your books?
Looking at them, yeah. I mean, there are some that come and go, but the primary protagonists appear in all the novels.
Okay, let's go now with how long did it take you to write that first book? And how long did it take you to write the last book, which is not in that series, if I did my research correctly?
Well, yeah, there's 4 books in the series, and for whatever reason, I can't get Amazon to believe that Orkland is part of the Spark Chronicles, even though it says it on the cover. Anyway, so the first book took me 18 months to write the first draft, and that's because I was working full time, and so you have to write when you can, and then it took me another year to write the remaining 7 drafts before I got one that was picked up for publication. And then the last book in the series, Embers, took me right at a year to go from first word on the page to published. So I managed to pack that timeline down a little bit.
Okay, but you knew the characters and the plot and the location, the time, and all the rest of it. So you learned a lot in the first few books.
Indeed.
Did
And you
keep
learn a
the
lot,
same?
not just about the world. Oh, sorry.
Did you keep the same editor all the way through the whole 4 books?
No. Each book has a different editor, and there's a couple of reasons for that. The first editor, the editor for Spark, I got along great with her, and then when it came time for the next book, she had decided that professional editing was no longer for her, so she left the publishing company she worked for. I even tried reaching out to her personally to see if she was willing to do it on a, I pay her directly, and I don't know what happened, if she just was so unhappy with the way things had gone at the publishing company that she decided she wanted nothing to do with any of the people in her background in that endeavor. But I couldn't get in touch with her. And then the second novel, I hired a new editor and was a bit disappointed. They said they specialized in science fiction, and they were out of the UK. And I got a lot of comments about, well, that's not the way we do sci-fi here in the UK. And I thought, well, okay, that's fine, but the major market for my stuff anyway is in the United States. So this may not be the best connection. And so she did hang out through the first or through the full publication of that. And then in the final two books, kind of the same editor, because originally Orkland was part of Embers, and then the editor said, you know, this is getting a little big. It's a little bloated, and you've got a couple of story arcs here that don't serve the major arc. So I'd like you to pull one of those. And I thought about it and thought about it. And I was talking to another author friend of mine, and she said, well, okay, could you turn one of those story arcs into a novella? And I said, well, yeah, easily. So I worked on the novella, got that out first, and then I finished Embers. The novella, I didn't use no, I did. I used a different editor for the final polish on that, and then wrapped up with the first editor I had for Embers.
Okay, we're getting ready to go to a commercial break here very quickly. When we come back, most authors start writing, they get their book published, and they start marketing. It kind of seems to be the way things roll. So when you come back, let's talk about your marketing from your first book to your most current book, and see how that's changed over time. So we'll be back about a minute and a half.
Okay.
My Tummy Hurts by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Meet Jackie. She loves recess, running with friends, and laughing on the playground. At school, Jackie tries to play like she always does, but suddenly the pain comes back. Lately, something feels different and her tummy hurts, sometimes a little and sometimes a lot. With the help of a caring teacher, a nurse, her mom, and a kind doctor, Jackie begins to understand what her body is trying to tell her. Sometimes tummy pain is more than a simple bellyache. Some children live with conditions like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. Jackie listens to her body. She asks for help. She knows she's not alone. And Jackie finds her way back to running, laughing, and being herself. My Tummy Hurts, a kid's guide to bellyaches and bathroom troubles by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, available on Amazon and in fine bookstores around the world.
Red O'Loughlin here. We're on the Corner Bookstore on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. My guest today is Pat Daly. I'm sorry, not John. I know a John Daly. Pat Daly. Pat, please join me back here up on stage. Okay.
Red, I've lost audio again.
You're kidding me. Okay. Let me think here for a second. I'm going to go back and change my...
No idea what the issue is.
Okay, let me change it to that microphone. Okay, can you hear me now? Apparently not. Okay, let's see what happens. Did you reset? No audio? Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay, so
I don't know,
we're going to
brother.
have log off and log back on again. If it's a problem, it can be corrected that way. So get that information over there to him. Okay, so we're back here again. I was talking a brief little while about my next book, but my wife came down with breast cancer back about 12 years ago. It took about a year or so before we finally realized what it was. She had surgery, a lumpectomy, and then she had to do chemo and then radiation. And during the chemo part, my background a long time ago was in chemistry. That was my first degree. Got my degree and then got an invitation to Vietnam, so I never got a chance to do much. But when I was working with her on her side effects of the chemo, I got really transposed in my mind thinking, I love chemistry. I never got a chance to practice it. But at that point in time, my writing, my speaking, and everything was on motivation, self-improvement. So I went ahead and said, okay, I love what I'm doing, cellular level in the body, what's going on, chemical reaction to chemical reaction. And so that began my pathway into health and wellness, longevity, age-related diseases. And I've written several books about it during the pandemic. I think I wrote 43 articles on Alzheimer's Let's see if Pat is back again. Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Forget about Alzheimer's and let's get back to you. Okay, we're before the break, and this has been a real challenging one. This is almost like taking off and being in the air 5 minutes and back on the ground again.
Yeah.
Okay, so the marketing aspect of your first book compared to the marketing aspect of your fourth book in this series. Tell us a little bit about what changed.
Okay, first book marketing, all the marketing was handled by the publisher. And that was great. Setting me up with a publicist, set me up for some appearances. That publicist got me on some podcasts. And then when I went to publish the second book, the publisher was having it was a smaller press, publisher was having some financial difficulties and said, okay, it's going to be 2 years before your book sees the light of day. And I write near future sci-fi, so I did not want to wait 2 years. So I tried to negotiate a few changes, like maybe I can pay for the editor, maybe I can pay for some of the publication costs. Didn't want to do that, so we ended up parting ways. I bought the first book back from that publishing company, and then tried it with no marketing, for hoping that my fan base would follow from the first book. And sales were okay, but they weren't what I was looking for. So I started looking for a new publicist, more people to help me market. And eventually I circled back around to a company called Creative Edge Publicity, and a gentleman named Mickey Mickelson. And he's my agent still, and working with Amy Ravichandran, who does the social media aspects. So they're helping me significantly with marketing the last book, and that's where I am today.
Okay. AI. Do you use AI at all as part of your research or writing or anything?
I use AI a lot for research. For writing, I use it only for grammar and proofreading, punctuation and stuff like that, because it turns out that the first version of Spark, professionally published, when it first hit the street, had 39 errors in it. And not just no factual errors, but simple typos. And I had made a joke in the book, because it involved an AI in the book, and I used binary. And the joke goes like this: there are only 1-0 kinds of people: those that understand binary and those that don't.
Mhm.
So the editor took that and said, no, without talking to me, said, no. Our style manual says that we spell out numbers less than 40.
Okay.
So the joke comes out as, there are only 10 kinds of people. Those that understand binary, those that don't. Well, that's not funny at all. And so I found that actually a reader sent me that and said, Pat, I think I know where you were going, but this joke just doesn't make it. So I have used AI for punctuation, catching punctuation and typos, because sometimes, especially as I age, I can have like 2 periods at the end of the sentence that maybe I had a second sentence in there and just didn't delete the period, and I don't really visually pick up on that anymore, but Grammarly sure picks it up. So that helps me a lot, and that's how I use AI now.
Yeah, I use Grammarly every day, literally, and it has a really nice AI supplement that goes with it. For my kind of technical writing, it works out very, very, very well. I like it a lot. Okay, cover creation. Did your publisher the first time give you a cover, or how has your cover development been?
They did. Gave me a cover the first time, hooked me up with an artist who did not enjoy feedback. And so I tried making a few suggestions, and eventually it got to, well, this is what you get. And so when I got the book back, I hired my own cover artist, a guy named Jesh, at Jesh Art Studios. Actually, he works out of Sri Lanka. Isn't the internet an amazing thing? And he came up with the current cover for Spark. And then I found him through maybe 99 Designs, and then tried to get in touch with him for the next two. Did not have any luck getting in touch with him because he parted ways with 99 Designs. And then when I was ready to do the final cover, he popped up on Reedsy as a cover artist. And so I went back to him because the intermediate cover artist did great work, but was just overwhelmed with stuff. And, everybody's got a deadline, and she couldn't live with mine, but I found Jesh again. So he did 1 and 4. And then a lady named Despina, who works out of Greece, did 2 and 3.
Okay, we're getting ready. We're truncated the show just a little bit today because of a late start, but we're getting now and down to the final minutes of the show. You wrote a book called Drunk Every Sunday, just recently published. Give me a brief, why and what happened, et cetera, because I did a similar thing myself. I write all this stuff, but I decided to write a spiritual book. So I'm kind of curious to see how yours goes.
Yeah, well, I've been a lifelong Christian, and the amount of the ignorance I had of my faith was profound. And so we're doing this, my small group at church, we're doing a Lenten study, and it was pretty thin stuff. Essentially, the entire Lenten study was, okay, pray, repent, and fast. Got it? Okay, got it. So you just charged me $15 for a book that you could have summarized in 3 words. And I thought, and it didn't answer any of my questions because Lent's not biblical. There's nothing in the Bible that says thou shalt observe Lent. And where did the word even come from? So I started doing my own research, and I found out that there is a whole fascinating history behind Lent and what we do. And where the title comes from is somewhere along the way, I discovered that Sundays aren't included in Lent. And so you count the 40 days, but you don't count the Sundays. And that just blew my mind. How is it that I hit my 40s and I don't know a very fundamental thing about one of my religious practices? So I dug into that, and I first used my small group at church as a beta test. They were my beta readers, and I'm proud of the book. I think it does a nice job of looking more at why certain sects celebrate Lent and others don't. And I respect both perspectives on it. I just prefer to celebrate it or to practice Lent. And so, yeah, that's why I turned to writing my first Christian nonfiction.
It's interesting because another interesting part about Lent, I'm a Catholic, is that I say the rosary every day, but during Lent, you only say the sorrowful mysteries. The rest of the year, they're spread out, different mysteries, different days. So that's another uniqueness about Lent. I don't know if you caught that or put that in your book, but just, trivia.
Yeah, that's good. I'll put that in version 2.
Okay. How do people get in touch with you? How do they buy your books? You got anything going on with your book signings or anything like that?
I do. As a matter of fact, I live in Houston, and there is a wonderful small used bookstore not far from where I live called Copperfield's Books. And every year for the last 12 or 13 years, they put on an author book fair. And so I'm going to be there this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, signing books, chatting with fans. I'm on a forum about science and space in science fiction, going to talk a little bit about that. But the best way to get in touch with me is through my website. And that website is thepatdaily.com. And I would have gone with Pat Daily, but somebody was squatting on that and wanted to charge me a lot. So I threw a "the" in front of it, and away I went. So you can find me there. I blog there, as well as post some other stuff, links to the books. All the books are available on Amazon, So that's probably the easiest way to get that. On Instagram, I'm Pat Daily Pics, and on Facebook, I'm Pat Daily Author. Also on X, I'm at Pat Daily Author.
Okay. Do you have any speaking opportunities coming up?
Lost audio again.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and wrap up the show. It looks like it's that point in time that we need to do that. And Pat, you may not hear me right now, but thank you so very much. And I wish you the best at your book signing this weekend. I am actually going to a book signing tonight and another one tomorrow night at my local Kroger stores. But let's get back to wrapping up the show today. This is Red O'Loughlin. We're concluding our first show of 3 today called The Corner Bookstore. My next show starts in about 23 minutes. And it's called The Wise Ones. And we're going to be talking with leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs, and that's the primary focus there. But I appreciate Pat being our guest today. We had technical problems backstage before we started. We changed a lot of stuff. We at least we got the show done, which I'm very happy for. Thank you, Dr. Jacqueline, for the production background and all the assisting you did there. I am concluding today's show and getting ready for the next one. Please join me again if you're on YouTube. Please consider subscribing to USA Global TV and Radio or to Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Our shows are archived there. There's probably over 60 shows that are available on a regular basis on the network. So please check it out, become a subscriber, and enjoy our network. Take care, y'all, and we will catch you later on, and I'll see a few of you here just in a few minutes. Take care. Bye now.
In a quiet seaside town in Greece, where sunlight warms the stone paths and the sea whispers nearby, a new adventure begins. Lady Ella and her brother Lord Jack have arrived with an important mission: to teach kindness, patience, and the power of listening. In a hidden alley, a group of forgotten cats feel unseen and unheard, lost in silence and growing misunderstandings, until someone finally takes the time to truly listen. Because when we listen from the heart, loneliness softens, kindness grows, and new friendships begin. This is Book 10 of The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor book series. Find all Dr. Kerbeck's books on Amazon and in fine bookstores worldwide.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.